For years I have thought about what God is, and finally I think I can define the entity that everyone says, "There is a power I cannot describe." I will try to explain it in a simple way. The starting point of this approach is to try to simulate the universe. If you have played simulation games, what I am going to explain will be much more understandable. In our daily lives, luck can sometimes determine the direction of our entire lives. We integrate the luck factor into the digital environment. In some games, it is referred to as RNG, random number generator. In some games, the effect of the RNG factor is low, while in others, it can change the fate of the game. This system works with a simple algorithm. For example, if we take the sight of a gun, there are hit rates. At a certain distance from the center of the sight to the outer circle, the probability distribution can go like 50%, 30%, 20%. On the move, a certain percentage of accuracy may drop. As the number of parameters increases, it will become a little more difficult to calculate. If we go back to real life, we see that there are infinite parameters. If we go back to the bullet example, the airflow at 100 meters will affect the trajectory of the bullet. It will require supercomputers to simulate the airflow in such an area, but again, we will never get absolute values, because let's say we have made calculations at atomic dimensions. In fact, even subatomic particles will have an effect. The more calculations we make, the higher the accuracy rate will be, but it will never be 100%. It may be 99.9999%, but it will never be 100%. The RNG factor of 0.001% will be the God factor in religious terms. So my definition of the concept of God is the probability system in the universe. When I first thought about it, I thought I might have made a completely different definition of being. But when I looked at religious books, this system and the concept of God actually overlap. A broadcaster I watched was saying, "RNG, please let this shot go in while shooting." In reality, we pray to God when we make a shot. While praying, we want the probability we want to happen. Scientifically, prayer does not have much effect on the laws of nature, but we can work to increase the accuracy in the process before shooting. Here, the concept of trust in God emerges. That is, we make improvements as much as we can before that moment, and then we leave the rest to God. Here, in fact, we are always trying to reduce the God factor, but there is always a small probability even if it is 0.001%. We need to be aware that that bad possibility is there, no matter how many calculations we make, and maybe we need to be grateful for this awareness to be constant. If we need to go through another example, because I live in an earthquake zone, I was sitting in a solid building and nothing happened to my building after the earthquake. At the first stage, I thought that yes, I calculated this and took precautions, and that's why I survived. Yes, maybe my probability of survival was over 99% because I took precautions, but at that point I need to be grateful that the 1% probability did not materialize, and I need to take more precautions to reduce that 1% probability to 1 in 10,000. When this realization doesn't occur, you see yourself as superior to God, and you ignore that 1% probability. In the end, that low probability can come true, and God punishes you, as the people say. I hope this is clear. Since my religious knowledge is not enough, I have been able to relate this much at this stage for now. We can fill in this approach by working on it more. Thank you for listening to me.